How's it going, everyone? How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Crunchtime Sports. I'm your host, Mason the Priest, and this is podcast episode 6. So today's topics, we're going to talk about LSU football versus Florida State in week 1 of college football. Talk about Sulphur High School and their football team, and just some things coming up with them. And so yeah. Also on this podcast, we cover all LSU football and all Sulphur High School football and a little bit of McNeese State University football. First, let's start off with LSU in their week 1 loss to Florida State. LSU lose to Florida State 45-24. The Tigers could not execute in the red zone or in key 3rd down and 4th down situations. Jaden Daniels went 22 for 37, 347 yards, a touchdown, an interception. He also had 15 carries for 64 yards. Now, Jaden Daniels led the team in rushing. He led the team in rushing because there was never a clean pocket for him to throw the ball. Because Florida State's defensive line is dominant. Florida State's defensive line might be the best in college football. Florida State's defensive line had 4 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. Josh Williams, he had 4 carries for 44 yards. He averaged 11 yards a carry. And then Brian Thomas Jr. had 7 receptions for 142 yards. So LSU led by 3. The score was 17-14 going into halftime. But they did not come out on top. So yeah, like we said, the Florida State defensive line was very dominant. 5 tackles for loss. Just from the front. Not their whole entire secondary. Just from the defensive front. So on 3rd and 4th down situations, the Tigers, they had 10 3rd down situations and they only executed 3 of those times. They went 3 for 10 on 3rd down conversions. They went 0 for 3 on 4th down conversions. And 2 of those were attempted in the red zone. 2 of those attempted 4th down conversions were in the red zone. That has a lot to do with the play calling. Harold Perkins, this is huge. Alright. Harold Perkins, he dropped into coverage 28 times. That's a career high for him. He only rushed 7 times. He rushed 7 times. Harold Perkins rushed 7 times. He's LSU's best pass rusher. And we rushed him 7 times? So a career high, dropped into coverage 28 times. And probably a career low, he only rushed 7 times. There's literally nothing to say to that except let Harold Perkins come off the edge and rush. Alright, he's the best pass rusher in the SEC. Dropped passes. After Kyron Lacey, his heel didn't go out of bounds. If you were watching the game and you saw that his heel did not go out of bounds, I thought that he was about to have a monster game after that huge, game. But it just went downhill from there for him. You got to feel for the kid, but there was definitely some passes he should have caught, and he knows that he should have caught them. We did not see John Emery. He did not play in that game. We did not see Mason Smith. He did not play in that game. They were not eligible. So we're going to see LSU versus Grambling State on Saturday, September 9th at 6:30 Central Time. So now that brings us to the Sulphur High School football talk. In week 1, the Tours would beat the across the lake rivals, Washington Marion, 50-22. Constance completed 11 passes out of the 16 that he attempted for 158 yards. Addison Constance, senior quarterback, he's super dominant. And he could be something special one day. Speaking of special, a very versatile player that the Tours have found in Jackson Beto. Beto has been just immaculate for the Tours so far this season, throughout the scrimmage against the Ritter, throughout the Jamboree against Lagrange, and now to week 1 against Washington Marion. Jackson Beto caught a touchdown pass, and in his first kick return ever as a Golden Tour, he took it to the crib for 6. Jackson Beto is probably the most versatile player that the Tours will have this season and next season. You can play anywhere. You can play receiver. You can play running back. So just big time there from Jackson Beto in that Washington Marion game in Week 1. The defense for the Tours in Week 1. The Tours secondary flew to the ball every play, which was amazing to see. It's awesome when your defense is flying to the football. 3 fumble recoveries and 3 forced fumbles also. But back to the offensive side, receiving, Brody DePriest had 6 catches for 51 yards. Jackson Beto, 2 catches for 65 yards. Rushing, the starting running back, Luke Clark. Luke Clark went down with an injury in the Jamboree game against LaGrange. Sophomore. He was a sophomore. So what happens was one guy goes down, the next guy steps up. Another sophomore, Tyler Joubert, steps up. He touches the ball 18 times for 149 yards. It's awesome to see young guys stepping up to the varsity level and, just running the ball hard, especially at that running back position in this tough district that the Tours play in. It's good to see, the younger guys, have a heart and, have that mentality that they can, run the ball against anyone in the state. Jackson Beto with a 76-yard kickoff return. Jackson Beto caught a 38-yard touchdown pass from Addison Constance. Addison Constance, he had a total of 4 touchdowns, 2 rushes, 2 passes. Addison Constance is really good. His IQ of football is insane. He knows a lot about the game of football, and that's awesome to see. They will face the Acadiana Wrecking Rams on September 8th. Now, biggest question is, how can the Tours stop the veer? Because everyone knows Acadiana runs the veer. That's everyone's question. Is the Sulphur Golden Tornado defense going to be able to stop the Acadiana Wrecking Ram veer? Now, the Rams, let's talk about the Acadiana Wrecking Rams for a second. They lost 61-34 against Louisiana Christian. Against Lafayette Christian Academy in Week 1. Now, and they lost their Jamboree game to St. Thomas More. So, the Rams, they have head full of steam. They're ready to come, kick some butt. It's Acadiana week. That's what they call it in Sulphur. I've been to every practice this week. They're the intensity's there. They're bringing it every day. So super excited to see what happens this Friday against the Acadiana Wrecking Rams and the Sulphur High Golden Tornadoes for Week 2 of Louisiana High School football. Do it for today's show. I know it's short. Trust me, I'm still getting used to all this podcast stuff. I'm still new to all this, so if anyone wants to, critique me or give me any advice in the comments, just please leave a comment down below. Tell me what I could do better, have more energy. I know, not feeling well. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any ideas for my podcast, any segments you want me to start doing. We're gonna start doing a lot more high school athletics here in Southwest Louisiana. Sam Houston and all those kind of schools, Barb, not just Sulphur, but we're definitely gonna keep covering LSU. And we're gonna add some McNeese. We're gonna have some McNeese athletics. We're gonna have some McNeese State University athletics in the future shows. So thank you guys for listening. This is Crunchtime Sports. I'm your host, Mason the Priest. We'll see you next time.